Hi everyone, my name is Chris Wild, Survey Manager at DRMP. Hopefully you caught that opening session by Ted, which included a great overview of the just-in-time survey process. This is going to be a companion session that builds on that to share how DRMP has implemented this system. Be sure to stick around to the end. We're going to have a live Q&A session. And matter of fact, go ahead and put those questions into the app as we go, and we'll be sure to answer as many questions as possible. But first, a little about DRMP. We are a full-service, multidiscipline firm with offices throughout the southeastern United States, including over 100 survey employees in Florida alone. Our mission statement focuses on employee growth and opportunities, and to support that mission, our firm invests heavily in technology. So you might recognize this flowchart from the last session, but as you can see, DRMP does not end our engagement with projects once a survey has been delivered to the owner. Now, as our engineering clients and agency owners receive and analyze our survey data, the feedback loop continues with additional requests. The result is that we can deliver more targeted data up front more efficiently and then extract the additional details needed as the project progresses. The objective of this presentation is to give you an overview of how DRMP has successfully implemented just-in-time survey using TopoCloud Pro and share some of the initial reactions we've received. To do this, joining me today is Senior LiDAR Technician Brian King, as well as LiDAR Project Manager Brent Bass. So with that, I will turn it over to Brian to start us off with how our technical staff is using TopoCloud Pro internally.
Thank you, Chris. I'm sure we're all at least a little familiar with how the TopoCloud software works, but I want to go over some of our workflow and upload process that we developed here at DRMP. On the slide here, you can see a snapshot of our TopoCloud project list. As you can see, we organize our jobs first by internal project number, but also by system type, which you can see in the second from the left column. The three symbols we use are the little car for the mobile scan jobs, a tripod setup for static scans, and a laser point for planning grade scans. There are also symbols for UAV and airborne missions as well. These symbols will come into play later in the process. Other than that, our upload process is very standard. Each project has the LAS tiles, photos, deviation reports, density reports, overviews, JSON linework files, and any other associated project files included. All of this is uploaded through the TopoCloud admin tools, not only as a redundant backup of our process data, but also as an easier way to transfer data between our offices. No more copying data to an external hard drive and shipping it to other users. This data is at anybody's fingertips once it's on the cloud. And now with TopoCloud Pro, most of this data can be accessed through a web browser by simply right-clicking an uploaded project and creating a share link. The work is already done by uploading the projects. Part of our new workflow is creating the first share link with an unlimited expiration date for internal use only. This allows anybody at our company to access our scan projects without transferring data. From there, we can also create as many share links with expiration dates for any client we want to share our projects with. All the client must do is copy the link into their browser and create an account with Certainty 3D if they don't already have one. From there, the client's homepage will build with a list of projects shared with them. On to the next slide here, we can see a map of Florida with all of our scan projects that we have created internal share links for. This is the map portion of our homepage. After the internal share links are created, one of us will log into our DRMP TopoCloud Pro account and follow the link. The list and map build automatically. Once on the list, all the data we uploaded through the TopoCloud admin tools can be accessed. On the map here, you can see the setting where the system type comes into play. Over in Clearwater, you can see an individual mobile scan by the little car icon. Just northeast of Tampa, you can see a planning grade scan by the laser point. And down in West Palm Beach, you can see the icon for a static scan by the tripod. These are the only individual icons you can see from this vantage point, but as you zoom in on a specific city, the projects will start to pop up. For example, if we zoomed in Orlando, there, you would see 14 scans that in that area would start to populate with their locations more detailed and labeled with a system type. Chris and Brent are going to go over some of the tools that they use on the TopoCloud Pro website, but I want to talk about some of the ways we have worked the website into our workflow much earlier in the process. Firstly, I use it to help jog my memory of older projects. A few weeks ago, I was trying to recall a project we did last year at our Tampa office, but I couldn't remember the job number, or the exact location. Just by logging here and zooming into the Tampa area, I found all the data, including the limits of the job. The second thing I use TopoCloud Pro for now is including our QA/QC reports on the website. I can upload the deviation and density reports as group overlays and share the internal link with our PMs. They can then open that link in their browser, zoom in on the project, and look at a nice visual of our perfectly aligned scans. No need to open MicroStation and attach dozens of rasters or flip through dozens of no reference pictures. Lastly, we have started to upload all of our completed extraction line work as JSON line work files to the website. This is a really nice visual representation of what we've extracted for every job. And again, if anybody wants to look at it, they do not have to open up MicroStation to look at it. I'm sure we will keep finding more and more uses for TopoCloud Pro, and I look forward to working with the team at Certainty 3D on this. Thank you for listening to me talk about our project setup with TopoCloud Pro in mind. And now I'm going to pass this back off to Chris to talk about how TopoCloud Pro helps us with client marketing.
Thanks, Bryant. So one of the greatest benefits we've realized from using TopoCloud Pro is how well it allows us to communicate. Brent's going to share with you more about how we communicate with our clients on design projects. But first, I'd like to share with you a couple stories about how we've used this system to communicate during client marketing. The image you see here comes from the map view from one of our project sites in Pinellas County. When the survey was ready for our designers, I shared the link with the PM, and his initial reaction was a dropped jaw. I don't think he had looked at the CAD file yet, so this was his first look at the survey, but the first thing he said was, "I need to show this off to the county." Well, we did that, and I can tell you that they had a very similar reaction. As we panned around the project site, looking through the photos, talking off and on the layers, one of the coolest reactions we got from the county PM was, "So wait, you're telling me all these parking stripes are accurate in space?" Well, not only was this line work extracted and accurate, but for the first time, the client could see that with their own eyes. So my next story comes from working with a design build team on a rather large project pursuit. As you may know, a lot of work goes into these up front to chase them, and while the engineer and the contractor were focused on their innovative designs and reducing costs, my focus was also on earning more business with the project team. At some time during the pursuit, the team asked about obtaining clearances on power lines to determine how they would interact with the design. Knowing that they would likely ask for more information later, we went ahead and mobile scanned the whole site and loaded it into TopoCloud Pro. Sure enough, a few weeks later, I get a request for more data on the location of some sidewalks and some miscellaneous pavements. Pulling up TopoCloud Pro, we quickly saw that the data was already collected and got to work extracting the additional data that same day. Well, sure enough, that wasn't the last request we received. Before long, the designers were performing cross-slope analysis on the whole project with our data. Before I hand it off to Brent, I just want to add that as a survey manager, safety is always one of my biggest concerns on any project. And with this system, we're already seeing a reduction in the amount of times we're remobilizing on major projects. So that alone makes this all worth it to me. With that, I'm going to hand it off to Brent now to talk about how we're using TopoCloud Pro on our design projects.
Thanks, Chris. Hey guys, this is Brent Bass. I'm the Survey LiDAR Project Manager here at DRMP. And I want to talk to you guys a little bit today about design projects because, that's 9% of the work that we do. It's DOT, city, and counties, transportation style projects. That's what we're good at. And having this website has been so great for us. So, just using it internally, being able to work with the other project managers and share them their data, no more questions with, I don't have a MicroStation installed. I don't have TopoDOT installed. No problem. Here, username, click this link, get a username and password, and now you have access to all your data. And it's been great because we're able to share and communicate data way more effectively. And externally has been great as well. There's an actual engineering firm outside of DRMP that we were actually starting to share our links with first, and that was VHB Engineering. And VHB actually reached out to me recently, and they said, "Hey, Brent, we have an issue." And I said, okay, what's going on? And they said, well, it looks like some of the back of the curb of the sidewalk has been either replaced or removed, and we're not really sure, what we're seeing on Google Street View is not really matching what you guys gave us. I said, okay, well, let's go take a look. So first thing they want to know is, when did you scan this project? So right there, right at homepage, you click the project, you go to the info, it has the date. So now they know the date. The images on Google aren't really matching up, so they're still curious, and let's say, well, we need to look at some other data. So if we highlight here this back of curb, this is what we're looking at, these walls and these back of curbs on the back of the sidewalk. So I said, okay, we turn on the line work, and then turn off everything we don't need to see. We don't need to see the SUV or the pavement markings or poles. We only need to see the sidewalk, the curb and gutter, all that good stuff. So we have all that turned on, and then we start going through the DPEGs, looking at the photos while we're looking at the scan data and while we're looking at the line work. And it was great. We were able to go through there and identify all the areas that actually we did not miss, but have been changed possibly by maintenance contract. Similar to this project with VHB, I had another client contact me and say, hey Brent, this project here, this certain area was under construction when you guys were there. And I'm like, I'm not really sure. Let's go look at the site. And so we did, and we go there, and in the LiDAR data, it's kind of hard to tell exactly, if that area was new or not. But then we go to the photos, and the photos tell a total different story. So we could see the construction equipment, the fencing, so we knew that while we were there working and scanning and extracting everything, that area was under construction. So what that did was that opened the door for this client to say, you know what, we need additional information. We're going to need you to go back out there and collect some more data. Another great thing for design projects is using this website so that you can manage your limits in your obscured areas. So, just using those overviews, you're able to see how much data you actually collected and where you have shadows. And so we've had engineers come back and ask us, well, I'm not really sure how much data we're going to need on this project, and I don't really know how much further past the right-of-way we're going to be able to see. And what do you guys think we should do? And in those projects, they're hard to estimate. So I tell them, I think we should scan these because that way we can come back later and see how much data we have. So, they're able to go back, look in those DPEGs, do some rough measurements, and see exactly what they need back from us. And when the engineers and your clients and everybody, they have access to your data, you're going to generate more work requests. These types of requests come in all the time. Clients call you and they ask you, can you get some more information down the side street? Can you give me the lowest bridge clearance? I've even been asked, can you give me the height from the ground for where the electronics are attached to these light poles? And the answer is usually yes, because we mobile scanned it and we have all this data available. And not only do we have it, we didn't extract it because you didn't need it. But now that you do need it, it's easy to go to the site and easily to request it. You literally click work request, you fill this out, and whatever's not already filled out for you, and you type a subject line and you hit send. And it's going to send me an email directly. Certainty 3D right now, they're working with us on trying to maybe update this a little bit more and give you a KMZ. When you hit submit, just more information, more communication. The whole point of this is that you're communicating with your clients. They see what you have access to your data. The data comes right back to you. You've seen the flow chart a million times today, but it does work. And just think of the advantages of how much money and time we're saving, and think about the safety factor, and that I don't have to send crews out to go get in the middle of the road and get a clearance height, or I don't have to send crews out to go back out into the highway to get something. So that concludes our take on TopoCloud Pro and how it benefited our survey department and even DRMP as a whole. I appreciate the time that Certainty 3D allowed us to have to present this information to you guys. And we are really lucky to have them here in Orlando and have such a great working relationship with them. They are a top-notch group. They really push the limits of LiDAR on this technology. The best part about them is they're always looking for ways to make their products better. When we first started using TopoCloud Pro, they took almost every idea that we had and implemented them. So at this time, we'll have Bryant load up one of our projects for VHB Engineering, and we'll go live to a Q&A session.
Hello, everybody. I hope everybody enjoyed that video. I here have shared our TopoCloud homepage, TopoCloud Pro homepage. As you can see, we have our map and our project list here. This, like Ted said in his presentation, anybody can learn how to use this page in 10 minutes, and he's right. Everything comes in nice and easy from the TopoCloud admin tools. Straight after the share link's made, go straight to your homepage here. Now, this is our internal homepage that has the majority of our scan projects from the last couple of years on it, and this really gives everybody access to all of our data, not just individual PMs and their projects. And as we showed before, as you zoom in here, these will pop up and populate with their system type, and we can access all of their information either by clicking here on Access Project or by clicking here on the screen, and it'll bring you to the project in question. This is a project that we did earlier this year over in Daytona Beach on A1A. We mobile scanned just over a mile of A1A and did full extraction on the road and some of the side streets. And here I have the work order request up here, but over here in the Properties tab, you can see all of the items that we have uploaded to the TopoCloud Pro website. And here I can toggle on the line work on and off so you can see it, all of our extracted line work, or not see it. I'm going to turn that off here for a second. And one thing I mentioned in my part of the presentation was uploading the rasters of the deviation reports and the density reports. And when we do that, it gives you a really nice visual of how well the scan was aligned after the processing. And we can toggle between the deviation, and this would just be the overview of the actual LiDAR itself, LiDAR data itself. And while that's loading here, in the project information, we can see all of the relevant project information based on the PM and all when we scanned it and stuff like that. And then all of the assessment reports as you upload that you uploaded to the TopoCloud admin tools will populate here, and then everybody can access. Anybody who has access to the share link can see any of the reports they need to without having to open up MicroStation or look through lists of reports. So if we zoom in here on this, we can see the overview of the LiDAR data and really truly the extent of what we could see. So if anybody needed to come back and ask for more data down one of these side roads, they can either see, yes, we did scan down there and have more data to extract, or that we did not scan down there and we would have to remobilize. But like on this intersection, for instance, if they wanted us to go an extra 20, 30, 50 feet here and extract more data, we could do that very easily just by putting in this work order request, and we can get in there and use TopoDOT to extract more data. And then this is the DPEGs that Ted was showing everybody, and we have uploaded those here, and it's as simple as clicking load closest image from here, and the DPEG will automatically load here in this view down here. And from here, we can then do anything from measure across and up trees, or anything where there actually was LiDAR data. We can measure up there and do simple measurements and really see what's going on here without having to load the full cloud. And one thing I always thought was very cool was we can drop this down and actually see the data here, or back up to the photo. And we can drop that back down. And we can load these images from anywhere down the road here. If there was something in question at this little entrance to this hotel, we can click right here and the DPEG will load. We can zoom around and see the image out of the back of our scanner right here. And you can also toggle up and down the road here and load the image previous or next in line down the trajectory. So this is an overview of our one project that we have uploaded fully. And then I'm going to hand this over to Brent here. He's going to chat a little bit about this project here that he mentioned in his presentation.
Yeah, so if Brian, if you can do me a favor and zoom in on any street, so they can any street intersection. Yeah, right in there will work. And let's turn off the overlay for a second. And so what I was talking about was when I was having a discussion with the client, you know, just like in, you know, AutoCAD or MicroStation, being able to turn off that line work is crucial. So right now, Brian can just click the line work button, everything will go off. And then he can just turn on the back of curb and the sidewalks and maybe the pavement, just so we can get a better look at what we're actually looking at here. And you know, this is what I'm doing with the client live, sharing my screen. They're checking it out. You know, what we're trying to do is we're just trying to make sure we don't waste anybody's time, and that we're going through here and we wanted to look at all this curving. And as soon as he gets all this line work open, we'll just click on a DPEG here. And what we did was I basically spread the, go ahead and stretch your DPEG viewer about halfway of your screen. Yeah, something like this. And you know, this is great for, you know, reviewing pavement quality or answering questions. But you know, I was able to pretty much just drive the project with the line work on one side and, you know, the pictures on the other. And this has come in handy so many times. I know we said it in our presentation, but it really is a good thing. I really like being able to measure quickly. You know, being able to spot problems is great for QC. But this is exactly what we did right here. We just went through here and we just looked for areas where he would say, okay, now you know, jump down to this intersection. Let's look here and let's see if there's curve in here, because he just couldn't tell what was new and what, you know, what was there when we were actually there. And this covers you. You know, all you guys out there that are doing this work and doing this LiDAR, you know what happens. As soon as you leave, somebody comes in and puts in the driveway, right? And so, you know, after that, you have to cover yourself. You have to be able to say, you know, well, let's look. And I didn't act, you know, we didn't actually miss any curves. So it was good for us and it was good for them, because then they're like, all right, so here's what we need to go back to our clients and find out, do we need to go get additional surveys or not? So again, within, you know, 15 minutes, I didn't have to send anybody out into the field. You know, no one's out on the road, no one's parking, you know, just even safer that we're just out here looking on the website together. In minutes, we solved our problem. And I think Chris has some questions he wants to read for you guys. And if you got any questions, we love for you guys to just type them in. This webinar is supposed to be more interactive. You know, Ted showed you guys how everything really works, and we'd love to answer any questions that you have. We may not be able to answer all of them, but we'll try.
Looks like there's a lot of questions there. Looks like we've lost Chris though.
Oh, hey, sorry guys, that's
Hey,
my fault. This is Chris Wild. Hey, so looks like the mute button's a little tricky here today. Looks like we do have some good questions coming in. The first one, we've got a question here from Ben asking, what was the first client that caused DRMP to pay for the service from TopoDOT? So to answer your question, Ben, I don't think DRMP approached this to service any particular client or any single client. This was actually looked at from providing our full service line, the extra added value benefits. But really, I think the biggest thing that really clued us in to begin was the internal use, the stuff that Brian's went over. We've got a lot of offices spread throughout the Southeast, and being able to coordinate with those offices and transfer data seamlessly and then show it off to our internal engineering clients was a big reason why we jumped into it to begin. Now, servicing our clients with all the extra features that have been attached to that has all been a bonus for us. I'm going to go ahead and ask the next question, and I'm going to direct this towards Brent. Looks like we've got a question here. Hey, Ben again. So Ben, thank you for being active. How is the contracting set up with agencies to pay for individual work order requests coming through the TopoCloud Pro process? You guys used to talk about the TopoCloud Pro service request. Brent?
Okay, that's a good question. So with some, it honestly it goes back to your relationship with your clients and how you have contracts set up. So if it was, if it was something for DOT, let's say, or for a county, and it was limited amount contract, then when they request more information from us, as long as we have money in our budget, we do it. Other projects that we have, if it's something simple, we don't worry about charging for every single little thing, because we like working with our clients and we like providing them more information. So we don't, for a clearance site, we may not have to do that, or answer a quick question. We may not have to charge anything. It's really when it comes to additional extraction. So with something like that, in the past, what I've had happen again is it'll trigger a supplemental agreement, is what it does. And basically the clients will come back and say, okay, give me an estimate to extract, this additional information. Because a lot of these things, what we're trying to do is they're trying to save money up front and not extract everything for the whole job. And they just want maybe edge of pavement to edge of pavement, or back of curb to back of curb. But then they come back later and they say, you know what, we actually do need this whole area through here from the back of sidewalk or all the way to the right of way. And they'll box that out, ask for a supplement or an estimate for a supplemental agreement. So that's a good question.
Okay, thanks, Brent. We'll go ahead and jump to another question here. We've got one from Al. Al's asking about our daily crew rates and the office fees and all that. But we're not going to get into our fee structure today directly, but he did ask, what is your daily fee for added office work per day when taking existing info from TopoCloud? So I'll go ahead and try to answer that for you. Kind of, what Brent was already talking about, in the last answer, but we're not necessarily charging to remobilize field crews when we're obtaining more data from existing scans. And that's a great benefit for our clients. When we go ahead and scan maybe a little bit further down a side street than was originally scoped, we're able to pass that savings off to our client oftentimes by just charging for the office work associated with extracting that additional data. And we usually work that off of our just typical contract rates, or our whatever's in the contract for those office hours. Here's another question from Sebastian, and I might need help from Brent on this. Do you have any examples of underground facilities or infrastructure? Now, I can start us off by saying, the software was definitely developed with LiDAR in mind, but we've been exploring internally with some other uses for that. Maybe Brent, you want to, just hit on some of the things we've been considering and discussing for other line work.
Yeah, we don't have any examples of technically like underground. I'm guessing you mean like a tunnel or something of that nature. We don't have a lot of that work. We do mainly transportation corridor mapping, but the other things that we were talking about doing is because you can easily upload any line work that you open in MicroStation at this moment. Anything that you can see in MicroStation, you can pretty much bring it straight into this. So we've been talking about showing out the right-of-way lines. We've been doing some cross-slope analysis on some major resurfacing projects and visualizing that on screen. It looks really good. We've had some that just want to see the utilities on there, some beautification projects. So it's really nice that when you actually make that JSON files, that whatever you see on your screen in MicroStation is what gets uploaded to the website. So you can turn off, like you can see here, if you turn the overlay off, you can see that we don't have all the ground points in here. All of our road shots or stuff around obscure areas. We don't have all those ground shots in there, which would clutter the drawing up. It's really, really clean. So good question.
Okay, looks like we've got another question just came in. This one might be good for you, Brent, but I'll try to start it off. Ben's asking, how much training do you need to bring to your end user clients? And it's just to start it off, it's super simple. Within the workflows that we're doing, we just provide a share link, and with a quick registration, our clients are jumping right into it. It seems like that's a really simple answer, but that's as simple as it is. I don't know if you have anything else to add to that, Brent.
No, it's if if we were talking about, if you're familiar with using the TopoCloud setup, I mean, like you said, literally the only additional work that you have to do is create a share link, and then at least your tiles show up. So if he goes back to one of these projects, anyone will work, and see the top left here to start a project, to create a link. You really need tiles. You need a was it TopoDOT project file is what you actually need. But everything else that you upload, that's completely up to you. It's completely up to you with what you want.
I think we might have lost a profitable business that looks at costs and doesn't necessarily want to pay for expenses that aren't worth it. And I can just honestly tell you that internally, we're really thrilled to be using this system. It's been really helpful for the communication, like we discussed in our presentation, and that's both internally and externally. It's really hard to put a number on that value. Certainly the clients are responding well to this, and our staff is working well with it. So to give you an easy answer, yes, this is definitely worth the money paid, but again, it hasn't necessarily been quantified, and it may be impossible to quantify, but we're pretty thrilled to be using this service. Okay, let's see. The next question I'm going to throw at Bryant. Chris has asked, can you filter projects by date or date range on the TopoCloud Pro web interface? Bryant, you want to handle that?
At this time, I don't think that there is a search, and only if I know you could if you tagged it with the date or the month and year in the TopoCloud admin tools upload process. If you did actually put a tag in there for that, you could, but that would take some forethought. But we don't use that tag, so we couldn't do that at this moment. David might be able to answer that better than that. He might know of a way to do that, but not that I'm aware of. No.
I don't think that the search box will let us input a range. I'd have to add another box just for date range. But the TopoCloud projects do support in the project metadata a date acquired, so it can be something that I can add if that's important.
Yeah, so if we went
and
here,
with a larger project, with a larger project
list there, yeah. So
I can search by that, and with a larger project list, that makes sense as to why someone would need that, because projects are only useful for X amount of years before they become kind of expired. So it's something we can add in.
Okay, that's a great question. Thanks, Chris. Looks like we've got a couple more questions coming in. Feel free to get your last ones in. We've got a few minutes left here today. Bryant, I don't know if you've got a project handy with a bridge overpass, but we've got someone asking, Eduardo's asking, could you demonstrate how you could determine / measure a minimum clearance on an overpass? Depending on which projects you have up. Yeah.
These ones, I think I only have the ground level. I might be able to get one here. Let me check right here. I don't know if the LiDAR will reach it because this was kind of out of the actual project limits.
Let me interject there, guys, for this one, because just to mention, this is Ted Knack, by the way. So Eduardo, thanks for that question. This isn't the environment where you actually make your last call for bridge clearance, because a lot of bridge clearances, it's you would actually you have to actually is it orthogonal, is it vertical, is it orthogonal super elevation, and you can't search through the entire bridge in this environment to say where's the lowest clearance. It's impractical. So what would happen is you would actually, an engineer or someone who needed that information would go back, send that email to the to the project administrator, and the project administrator would actually look at data. So I don't know, you guys probably don't have anything up there ready, but you would actually look at the data, run TopoDOT tools to actually automatically find the lowest clearance, orthogonal to the super elevation or not, or vertical at the stripe line, or in a particular lane or entire bridge. I mean, whatever the requirements had to be. Does that make sense? This is a very key point. TopoCloud Pro is about communication. It's not about the extraction of a verified, certified extraction of a measurement that you're going to, hang on as a design measurement, or as a, or as an you're going to have an action to. So there you can do that, but like example, Brian measured there that'll give you anybody some basic information as to the height. Is that the lowest height? No, and you have to click around and you'll never really know. Inside the TopoDOT, in the CAD environment, you can make a click, do a cross section, and it'll find you the lowest point, done. And that it's absolutely the lowest point. So does that make sense? It's all about going to that process and getting to the right people. And Eduardo said, thank you. Yes, okay. You're welcome, Eduardo.
I completely agree with you, Ted, there. This is great for general measurements, but if I needed to find the exact lowest clearance over this road, this definitely is not the environment.
Yeah, it's worth noting, it's about that someone always has to sign off on these measurements, these models, when things are requested. And that's, the project administrator plus like the team, in this case, the DRMP team, have the expertise to do that. You want to get back to them and ask them those questions. You don't necessarily want to try to do things in TopoCloud. It's just an inexpensive way of communicating with them. Okay.
Yeah, and just to jump in and clarify, so, when we have those discussions with our clients, typically when I show them these kind of tools, the first thing I tell them is, this is a great planning tool for your staff. If they need to know a lane width in a project site that we've scanned, go ahead and pull it right out of TopoCloud Pro. But we do encourage them to go ahead and use that work order request and request that the actual clearance to be extracted by us when it comes to those critical measurements, especially for design. So we definitely are careful to inform our clients that anything they're able to do here within the web app themselves should be verified with the actual data before being put into any sort of official documents or anything like that. And so far, they seem to understand that very clearly. They understand the difference between someone going out there with a rangefinder and an official survey crew. And they seem to really appreciate the ability to do those rough measurements themselves. Looks like we've got, go ahead, Ted. Did you have something to add to that?
Just to add a little bit, it's one of the things I saw in the field, and I think it's worth hitting home. When we designed TopoCloud Pro, one of the things I was seeing was that there was an approach of a data hosting approach where you threw data up there and you were going to let anybody grab it and do what they wanted. And what people found that there was, we know the intricacies of data and how it's not easy to extract and to verify. And basically we realized that it's not just the data, it's the extraction has its own quality assurance that you have to go through. So what we saw is quite honestly, a lot of data just being piled on top, piled out there. People were extracting, and I guarantee you, for example, if I give you a point cloud of 5 engineers, the same point cloud, and say, give me this measurement, I'll get 5 different measurements. So it really requires that you go through that process. So go all the way across that it goes through. If you need actionable information, you're not just looking for a general measurement. Okay, so enough about that, but I think you get it. And then I think there's another good question from Ben, so I'll let you take that, Chris.
Sure. Looks like we have a couple more questions coming in. Let's go with, is this service used more for internal collaboration or external client deliveries? And well, that's a great question. So as our presentation earlier kind of showed, we are using it for both. I can't tell you an exact split, but I can tell you we use it internally to collaborate on every LiDAR project we scan today. So it's certainly used full-time there. External, we are starting to use this with our basically all clients that will humor us and go ahead and download or actually not even download, but follow the link out to the website and interact with it. We're providing it to all of our clients. So really, it's hard to kind of tell you a split on the internal versus external, but over time, we are seeing more and more external use. Internally, everybody kind of jumped onto it immediately. Okay, now we've got some technical questions coming in. I might skip over those. Let me see here. We've got, can the displayed overlaid scan data on the DPEG in order? Okay, let me reread that. See. I guess Phillips here is asking about the DPEGs, and I'm not quite following the question. Let's just skip on to the next one. What is the most common source of errors you find in terrestrial mobile LiDAR data, specifically with trajectory misalignment? Sean, that might not be the right seminar for that kind of question. Let's kind of skip down. Here's a good one. How often are you combining data collection sets such as aerial, mobile, terrestrial, drone, handheld mobile, etc.? How do you validate the combination of the data? Well, this might have to be a two-part answer. I could tell you that combining data sets from different methodologies is becoming quite common. Probably a majority of the projects we work on includes some sort of combining data sets, whether it be from mobile LiDAR and conventional survey data, or mobile and static, etc. Let's see.
I could add something to that. That would be a
sure. Go ahead, Ted.
Sean. Yeah, if I may interrupt. Sean, what you would want to do really, as we see it, we have the tools inside of TopoDOT to basically look at the deviation and trajectories. If you're doing a mobile scan, you look at the max and min and see how well, or a static scan, see how well they're lined up. You could also use like UAV data versus a mobile data versus static data, run those, get the rasters, and those raster point clouds could show up here on TopoCloud Pro. And just say, and you just would mark them, if you gave them the name of UAV comparison to mobile, you would get a color code point cloud of the deviations between the two and with a legend. So that would give you that fusion, if I think that's what you're asking for, the deviation analysis between two data sources. That would be fine. You'd see it. This one they're showing now is just a color coded, but you can actually do deviation by max and min deviations of point clouds. In fact, there it is. So that's actually one mobile LiDAR, right? So it's all light blue and pretty because it's really tightly designed, tightly lined up, because DRMP does such a great job with the mobile. But if there was a misalignment there, it would show up going green to red to yellow. So you could actually do that between data sets, and including with one data set, you could pull that in. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, thanks for that, Ted.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm going to throw it back over to Bryant. We've got another technical question coming in. Looks like Joseph has asked, how long does it take for a CAD tech to take this data and start extracting it? Does it stay in the cloud or does it need to be uploaded? How long will that take? Bryant, do you have some input on that?
I do, yeah. So once we have our tiles finalized and tiled up and all the classification done, we will upload it to the TopoCloud, our Amazon server there, through the admin tools. And I will send whoever is extracting it in whatever office, tell them, hey, these tiles are ready to go. And typically, like this morning, I had a tech just go and pre-fetch a few tiles. I think he went and pre-fetched like 10 tiles and was extracting within 10 minutes. And then in the background, he was pre-fetching the rest of the tiles. And so, since he fetched them from the TopoCloud server, they're there on his machine ready to go. All he has to do is map them into MicroStation and off to the races. He's extracting. If they did want to access it inside MicroStation through the tool, through the TopoCloud tool inside MicroStation and map the icons from there, you could load just one individual tile that you needed, and that's really just going to honestly depend on your internet speed. Most of them come down in a minute or less, and then you can have that one tile, and it'll be cached there locally for you for the next time you load it, and it will be much faster. You're not actually accessing it from the cloud or come from your cache folder that you set. So it is very quick, but it is a little bit driven on your internet speed. I hope that answered everything you needed.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. I think that was really good. Ted, did you want to join in on that?
Yeah, I want to make sure sometimes people, if everybody's new to this, TopoCloud Pro is not the extraction environment, just so we're sure. We're going to be talking about that all week. You're going to go into the TopoDOT where you're extracting. So just to make sure you're not extracting here, and I'm wondering if some are getting that impression. Just to make it close. This is just communication between your outside world and getting back to your administrators who have access to that data and are using it. Okay.
Okay, looks like we have maybe one or two more questions. I'm going to go back to this question asked earlier. Has DRMP used TopoDOT from the beginning of their service offerings, being based near the Orlando area? Yes, as a matter of fact, DRMP entered into the LiDAR extraction business years ago. Before we got into mobile LiDAR, we did purchase static LiDAR scanners, the terrestrial tripod mounted scanners. And we started using TopoDOT all those years back when we got into that line part of the business. And naturally, as we got into mobile, it was just the right fit. Our staff was familiar with TopoDOT. It was a great product, and we just rolled right into it. So we have been using TopoDOT since the beginning of our LiDAR service line. I think we've got one more question here. I'm not even sure about this answer. I'm going to throw it out there, and maybe either Dan or Ted, or maybe my staff can jump in here. There was a mention, this is the question, there was a mention of coloring with regard to misalignment of data while referring to the data acquired through mobile. Can you view information regarding possible misalignment between different forms of acquisition, such as mobile versus drone? And I'm not technical enough on this to be able to answer that question directly, so I was hoping someone could jump in.
I think
all right.
Take that. Anyone take that, or you want me to, guys?
Yeah. So yeah, any data that can be loaded there through TopoDOT and MicroStation can have the deviation between point clouds run on it. It runs purely on what is loaded there in MicroStation, and Ted may be able to elaborate a little bit, but if you loaded one trajectory of mobile versus 4 trajectories of mobile, it's going to compare those 4. If you loaded your mobile as 1 versus your UAV as 1, it'll run the assessment, between those two. It really can be done on anything.
And then they'll come out, and you can produce from that a color-coded raster that you can take into TopoCloud Pro. So you'll see, like, this color code. This is kind of boring because it's so good. It's light blue. It means everything's aligned within 400ths. I wish you guys would have made a mistake somewhere, because it would have been nice, but you didn't. It was great. But the bottom line is
down the side,
okay,
a little bit, but that was outside control and glue. So.
Yeah, it's outside control or something. But the bottom line is, if you had like a UAV data, and you wanted to, you can set those legends to be different. You could set those legends to be whatever color and range you'd like, and then you will see the actual misalignment as color coded. It's not data. Remember, everything we're seeing here is just a raster, and the reason it's a raster is because it's inexpensive to go and grab and use, and it's quick, and everybody can bring it down. You can't do this in JavaScript if you're bringing down like point cloud data. This is the reason it's so useful. But you do that, and you can actually make those reports and see it here. So it would look just like this with different color codes for between the two files. Hopefully that answers.
Yeah, that was great. Great info there, Ted. All right, well, I don't see any more questions coming in. It looks like we've hit our time allotment. So with that, I wanted to thank you all for joining us today, and thank you to Ted and the TopoDOT team for inviting us to present with you all. Feel free to check us out on drmp.com to learn more about the services we offer. But with that, I'll hand things back to Ted to close us out.
Well, all I want to say is that thank you, and I want to thank, first of all, our our friends at DRMP. It's not an easy thing. Well, first of all, it's a lot of work to put a presentation like this together, and it's just an excellent job. And the fact that there's still I think almost 200 of everybody's just still here, interested. That's really speaks well to what we're doing, I think. And their success goes without saying. The other side is a personal note of appreciation. We've been developing these systems for over a couple years now, and DRMP took the first leap. And it wasn't just faith. They knew we were good. They knew TopoDOT. We've been talking about it a long time. But to be honest, I just can't express to them how appreciative I am for them to be really the first to put this into operation. They're going to lead the way in the market. They're going to do a lot of great things with this. We're already working on some, a lot of improvements. And it's really kind of fitting into the whole process the way we thought it would. So it's gonna bring them success. They deserve it, and I just can't tell them how appreciative it is that they were willing to to really kind of be the first ones out there to do this. And that's what brings the market forward. I will end it with telling you we travel around the world, and we sell TopoDOT around the world. And I will tell you that what's happening here in Florida, what's happening here in the United States, and particularly Florida and maybe North America, is years ahead of the rest of the world. And they have the same equipment, but the processes and the performance of everyone within that process and how it's being used is by far years ahead. So we're something to be proud of here. We enjoy helping every one of you be successful. So please, call DRMP when you have some, when you really need services and the like, and you want to take advantage. If you're a DOT or an engineering group, and you want to take advantage of these services, they are ready to help you, and you're ready to, really get the value out of that. Really optimize the data that you're acquiring, and then, and of course. Is the technical execution and implementation of this. That's what we're here for. This is what we like to do. So we appreciate, and we appreciate our community, very much. And you've really been instrumental in your faith in us in bringing us a long way. So we really appreciate that. Finally, I'll just say, give you my goodbye. We're going to hopefully, in this weird and challenging time, we're going to get back to normal soon, and we're looking forward to seeing every one of you somewhere in the country, at conferences, in the field, and just like it used to be. So because your guys, you're what makes all this worthwhile. Your success is our success, and we appreciate it. So that's about it for me. And I'll say thank you, and if you want to, and I'll just close it out. If you know how to get hold of us, if you have any more questions, and these videos will be available for to share, and they'll be on our website in very near future. Okay, so best to everyone, health, and be careful out there, and looking forward to seeing you out in the market soon. Bye.